Good evening, everyone. My name is Rajan Jolly. I'm the operations manager at Naturetrek. I joined Naturetrek in 2001, almost 22 years ago, when I moved from India to UK. At Naturetrek, I look after tours to Burma, to Bhutan, to Sri Lanka, and to India. Today, I'm talking from Chilworth in Southampton, and it's warm inside, but it's very chilly outside. So I will be taking to a warm tropical country, Sri Lanka, and to give you some perspective where Sri Lanka is, this is the map in front of you. It is a small, tiny island in Indian Ocean. It is southeast of India. It is around 4 times smaller than the size of UK. So it's a small island with a population of 21 million people. 71% of the population follow Buddhism. So in Sri Lanka, we see a lot of ancient Buddhist monasteries, ancient palaces, stupas, statues of Lord Buddha. With that culture, we also see the rich nature and the wildlife of Sri Lanka. So this is the tour I will be talking about today. The name suggests what exactly we are going to offer. So Sri Lanka Wildlife and History. We'll be covering all the major highlights of wildlife of the island, and we'll be also focusing on the culture, the rich culture of Sri Lanka on this tour. So we start, as you can see, we go up north, and then we come down and we cover some wildlife parks, and then we go back to Colombo and fly. So we use Sri Lankan Airlines to fly to Colombo. All our trips to Sri Lanka, we use this airline because they offer direct flights. This is the only airline which flies direct to Sri Lanka. There are many other options available, but they are indirect. And we can also cater to anyone flying from regional airports. So there are options available. The flight to Colombo is around 10 hours. So we leave in the evening. The timings are very good. We leave in the evening at around 7-ish, and we arrive in Colombo next day in the afternoon. On arrival in Colombo, we quickly freshen up and start our drive to Anuradhapura up north, as you can see on this map. It's a 4 hours journey, but after a long flight, we want to make sure that the journey is comfortable. So we stop en route. We will start with some lovely birding stops en route. We will enjoy some snacks. We'll enjoy the local delicacies. We'll enjoy the coconut water, which you can see in this picture. And we try and arrive in Anuradhapura just before our dinner. Anuradhapura is the ancient capital of Sri Lanka. It is also a World Heritage Site. Very, very important place for Buddhists. So a lot of tours coming from Japan and many other countries who visit Sri Lanka purely for few destinations like Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa. Here, our focus is going to be very much ruins, the culture of the city, the ancient city. You will see in this picture, there are some lovely carvings and lovely stupas. On the right of this slide, you will see a tree. It is a sacred fig tree. It is 2,200 years old tree. And the roots of this tree were brought from India, from Sarnath in India, where Lord Buddha got his enlightenment 25 centuries ago. So a very holy tree for Buddhists, for Sri Lankans. And when you are there, you will see locals chanting, praying, and it's a very lovely experience because you see the real, very much the real experience, the real Sri Lankan experience. On this tour, we have mix of accommodation ranging from small family-run accommodations to middle heritage standard categories, and some hotels with bit of luxury, like this one in Anuradhapura. From Anuradhapura, if somebody would like to see more of culture, we offer an excursion to Polinavar. It is only an hour's drive from Anuradhapura, and it is something really special because most of the people who visit Polinavar visit for stone temple, which you will see on this picture on the left, and the stone carvings of standing and reclining Buddha. This was built in 12th century, and the reclining Buddha is 14 meters long and carved from one stone. So all the carvings there are amazing and built in 12th century. The birding is also good there, so we do some birding around these monuments, and then we come back in the evening and stay overnight before we travel to our next destination. So we'll give culture a bit of a break, and we will focus more on wildlife. We'll be going and traveling to a lovely place called Sigiriya. So we'll be going there to see some endemic bird species of this place, starting from Sri Lankan grey hornbill. We'll also look for Sri Lankan Woodshrike, Sri Lanka jungle fowl. And this is a place where we will do one night game drive as well. Such a special thing which we can do it in this lovely place. To look for nocturnal mammals, we'll be focusing mainly on fishing cat, red slender loris, gray slender loris. Look at these big eyes. Their eyesight is very, very good, but I'm afraid they don't like light. So when we are on our night game drive, we make sure that we don't do flash photography or take bright lights. They are only 6 to 10 inches tall. They are found in India and Sri Lanka, and they have 2 breeding seasons in a year and have 1 or 2 offsprings. Such a delight when you see them on your night game drive. We also look for common palm civet, giant flying squirrel, and jungle cat. So if you like the sound of the nocturnal mammals, the night game drives, so then we offer an exclusive trip called Sri Lanka by Night. On that trip, we focus on Sigiriya, nocturnal mammals, but we also focus on other sites to see more of night wildlife. And the trip which we do is in March every year. And this March, we have a few places still available. Being in Sigiriya, we can't miss this lovely monument, built 1500 years ago. The name is from the shape of this rock. The name is Lion Rock Fortress. And because of the shape, you will see that when you enter, you see it looks like a lion. You're entering the lion fortress. Here, the views are amazing from the top. But to go to the top, we have to accept a bit of a challenge and climb around 1,200 steps up to the top. When we go and climb these stairs, we look for different things, starting from lovely fresco paintings, king thrones, the mirror hall, the bath, the swimming pool, and above all, the views. The views from the top are just breathtaking. They are lovely. However, if somebody's not feeling adventurous enough, we have an option of just staying on the grounds of this lion fortress and do some birding. So we have a guide who stays down, and he takes other members who are not very keen on going on the top, and they do birding. So a lovely place to visit. We stay at Hotel Sigiriya, mainly because obviously the comfort. The rooms are very comfortable, nice food, but also because of the lovely views of the fortress, the rock fortress. Moving on, we will be traveling on to Kandy, but before we go to Kandy, en route, we stop in these caves. These caves are prehistoric caves, but the fresco paintings, the reclining, the standing Buddhas, which you see here, they were done around 150 years ago. But lovely stop. We stopped there for nearly an hour or two, but it's a nice place just to see some local culture, meet local people, and then carry on to Kandy. Kandy is the most sacred city of Sri Lanka, mainly because of the temple here, the Temple of Truth. Here, the tooth of Lord Buddha is kept. So you will see a lot of locals every day visiting this temple, offering flowers, offering other things, the prayers. So when we enter, we feel so calm, so peaceful in this lovely temple. In Kandy, we also go to the well-maintained botanical gardens. So in the afternoon, we visit these gardens to see the lovely orchids, the flowers, the lovely trees, some endemic to that region. And we also see that the love is in the air in this place. They're so well maintained. You feel so romantic when you are in these botanical gardens. And if somebody want to show their affection, show their love to their partner, they can do it here in this setting, like I did when I was in these lovely botanical gardens. In the evening, we see these lovely folk dances of Sri Lanka. Look at the dresses, the colorful dresses they have. Look at the musical instruments they play. So it is for around 2 hours, and we spend just enjoying their different forms of Sri Lankan folk dances. So moving on, really, obviously this Kandy is something really special. I'm sure everyone will love spending their 2 days in Kandy. On this tour, because it's a long tour, 17 days tour, we try and spend 2 nights at least one place. We will be visiting, the next day we'll be visiting Nuralia, which is a hill station and also known as Little England. But before we reach Nuralia, we'll stop in a tea gardens. We see how they pluck tea. Then later on, we go to a tea factory as well to see how the tea is processed, how they make the tea. And we'll also be lucky to have a cup of Sri Lankan tea before arriving in Nuralia in the hills. This is the place where you will need your warm clothes. A fleece will be good. Tropical country, the weather remains very similar throughout the year. It's only in the hills you will need some warm clothing. Rest is all trousers, shirts, comfortable clothing, and not woolens. Even if you are visiting in January, we have a few groups departing very soon. The advice is very much pack comfortable clothes. It's only for Nuralia. Take maybe a fleece, a warm jacket. That's it. It's a place where we see lovely tea gardens. It's a place which reminds us of the hills here because of the lovely Lake Gregory, the post office, the Victorian architecture, which is in Nuralia. From Nuralia, the next day, we do an excursion to a lovely place called Horton Plains National Park. It is only 45 minutes journey from Nuralia to Horton Plains, and we try and leave early in the morning to look at the special wildlife which this place has to offer us. The endemic species which we look for are the Sri Lanka whistling thrush. We look for yellow-eared bulbul. We also look for Sri Lanka white eye and the critically endangered purple-faced leaf monkey. They are very shy, very elusive, very difficult to see. But because of our 2 leaders, our guides, we have been lucky to see them on few of our Sri Lankan trips. A very special sight if you see them. So moving on, we go to Tisimaharama. So it's going to be a long drive, I'm afraid. It's the longest drive of the tour. It takes around nearly 7 hours. But again, to make it comfortable for our clients, we make sure that we stop en route. We do birding en route. We also stop in a lovely spice garden. So there's spices, Sri Lankan spices all around us. So they will show us how they grow Sri Lankan spices. We will taste some. We will have a lunch in that spice garden before carrying on our journey to Tisimaharama. So all our long drives, even if they're 4 or 5 hours, we make sure that we do enjoy en route wildlife or en route anything special which we can see. Even anyone, maybe a local life, a village, we try and visit. We will take photographs. We go and meet locals just to make sure that we have the real experience of the country. In Tisimaharama, which is very close to Yala National Park, we stop only for a night, mainly to have, because it's a long drive, so we want to make sure we stop, relax, and next day we go on to the national park. But in Tisimaharama, there's a lake where we do some birding. So we'll be doing some birding in the morning, and then we carry on our journey to the most famous national park of Sri Lanka, which is Yala National Park. It is famous because of the Sri Lankan leopard. And as it is so easy to see leopards in Yala National Park, it is, I'm afraid, very busy national park. So everyone knows about Yala National Park and the 50-odd leopards it holds. The area of Yala National Park is 400 square miles, and the leopards there are used to jeeps, used to humans in the park. So you will see them sitting on the trees, on the tracks, near the water holes. So the sightings, I'm not saying that they are everywhere. It is still difficult to find them, to see them, but the chances are very high that you will see them. But to avoid the crowds, we do visit Yala National Park, but very cleverly a few years ago, we thought it's getting too crowded. There's so many jeeps everywhere in Yala National Park. Let's do something different, which other companies are not doing. So we found a lovely place, which is a neighboring national park called Lungamvera National Park, which is just only 40 minutes away from Yala and offers very similar wildlife. So we have a park to ourselves. It is still a secret which Naturetrek has. So not many people visit this national park, but we see very similar wildlife. I was there a few years ago and saw sloth bear. There are around 1,000 sloth bears in Sri Lanka, and chances of seeing one at Lungamvera are very high. Of course, we see leopards, but we also see wild elephants, and it's a very scenic park as well. We look for marsh mugger crocodiles, and these are the jeeps which we use for our game drives. As you will see, they're very comfortable. Everyone get a window seat. And if we are lucky, peacock also accompanies on our game drives. So very comfortable way of doing the game drives. So when we're in Yala, we stay at Cinnamon Wild Lodge. It is a very comfortable lodge, as you can see in the picture. It is on the shores of Indian Ocean. It has a lovely swimming pool, and the grounds are lovely. The grounds where we spend afternoon to look for birds. And in the past, our groups have been lucky to see leopards as well, and wild elephants, not very far from the lodge, because it is only 5 minutes drive away from Yala National Park. This is one of the rooms of that lodge, offers air-conditioned ensuite facilities, very comfortable. So moving on, we travel on to Udawalawe National Park. As you can see, we are very much down south now. And this is the place which offers the best chances of seeing wild elephants in the world. There are around 700 wild elephants in an area of around 200 square miles. So the chances are very high. And we stay in a comfortable hotel there called Centurial Wild Resort. So if somebody really want to see Sri Lankan wild elephants, this is the place to go. And we see elephants not far, but very close by as well. This is there's also a lovely place called Udawalaway Transit Home, which is doing a wonderful job. They do open it for tourists as well. There's a platform where we sit. We are not allowed to go very close to the elephants, but we sit there and we see how they feed elephants. And all the elephants which are there are mainly from who needs help. They're injured, they need help, so they're brought here, they're fed. When they're well, they're released back in the wild. This is the last destination on this tour, which is the rainforest called Sinaraja. It is a World Heritage Site. Sri Lanka has 34 endemic bird species, and out of 34, 25 are found here. 60% of the trees are endemic to this region. 50% of all endemic mammals, butterflies, reptiles are found here. Such a lovely place to visit. When we visit inside the reserve, we go on foot. So our birding is done on foot, and we look for different species, flock of birds, many other trees, and it is something really special. It is a place which we go on our Sri Lanka wild endemic tour. So we have a different tour in which we focus just on Sri Lankan endemics, and this is a place which we focus on. And most of our groups in the past have seen all 34 endemic species, plus many more migratory birds as well. In Sinaraja, the star bird is blue magpie. The flight of this bird is not very good, so it is mainly seen around that region, around Sinaraja. We will also look for Serendip's owl, recently discovered by Deepal, a two-leader, in 2001. Look for frogmouth, look for the yellow-fronted barbet, and Changeable Hawk-eagle. So this is the end of the main tour. So what we do is we travel back to Colombo and fly and stay a night, and then fly back on Sri Lankan Airlines direct to London, to UK, back home. But people who would like to spend more time in Sri Lanka, we offer extensions. One of the extensions is blue whales. So we go to Marissa and go on these boats on the shores, on the sea, and we go for around 10 nautical miles and look for blue whales. The season for blue whales is mainly starting from November and goes on till April. The best time is, supposedly, best time is February and March, but our groups have seen blue whales even in November, December, January. We also look for other whales as well. We look for sperm whales. Our groups have been lucky to see killer whales as well. In Marissa, we always see school of spinner dolphins. We stay in a lovely, comfortable place. And this is very close to the fisherman's village. So in the afternoon, our groups like to walk here, enjoy the fisherman life, and see how they catch fish. On one of the boat trips are done only in the morning for around 4 hours. In the afternoon, one of the afternoons, we go and visit Galle, which is around 1 hour drive from Marissa. And we see Dutch Fort, the Galle Dutch Fort. We will try and visit the famous Sri Lankan cricket stadium. And that's where we end the extension. We offer one more extension because this tour is very busy. It's a fast-paced tour. So what we do is, rather than always traveling and seeing so much, we want to give our clients a bit of a break to relax. So this is a lovely extension where you can spend some time just relaxing near the beach, white sandy beach. You must be wondering what happened to all the cuisine. So let me tempt you with this picture. So we have lovely cuisine in Sri Lanka, and we'll be offering that on our tour. My favorite being coconut roti, but they're lovely food, starting from chicken coconut curry, which is amazing, the fresh seafood. But having said that, we can cater to all dietary requirements, be it vegan, gluten-free, or anything else. So lovely to speak to you. I hope I have tempted you to visit Sri Lanka soon. So thank you very much. Over to Georgie.